taking it from the Mexicans and dealing it out to his own people. He didn't believe in none of them did.
Well, it's a scene from the movie American History X. It's about a white supremacist who was rehabilitated in prison and then sent out to save his brother from the same fate. That scene is the lead character's discovery that a gang he is in is a member more about business than ideology. And experts say that it isn't just fiction. Two white supremacist groups are being looked at for possible links to both the murder of Colorado Prison Chief Tom Clement and the assassinations of Texas District Attorney Mike McClellan and his wife. And what many people don't realize is that one of the most violent white supremacist groups, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, or ABT, that could have a connection to the McClellan's murders, is not just a loose prison gang. It's actually a highly organized business enterprise that may even have connections to the Mexican drug cartels. Joining me for more on how the ABT became so sophisticated and why they are such a threat are T.J. Leiden, a former white supremacist and author of Skinhead Confessions, and Mark Podak, a senior fellow with the Southern Poverty Law Center. Mark, let's start with you. How sophisticated is the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, and do they have an organized business operation?
Well, they're sophisticated enough that they are able, from their cells in prisons, often in solitary confinement, to essentially direct a criminal empire that extends beyond the prison walls and out into the streets of our communities. You know, what I mean by that largely is that they're running a very major methamphetamine distribution racket, and we're talking something that reaches the millions of dollars. That, I think, has really been the remarkable thing, how they are able to get their messages out via written codes, verbal codes, sometimes through the use of their wives, their girlfriends to get messages out. The fact is the leadership is, by and large, in prison and often locked down and yet able to direct these things. So organization and money. But you say millions of dollars? That's the total worth of the organization? Well, I think that's probably right. You know, we're talking about a gang that has more than 1,000 members and probably a good deal more than that on the street as well. So, yes, I think we're talking a major methamphetamine racket here. TG, there have been some reports tying the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas to D.A. McClellan's murder because in 2012 he helped secure a series of indictments against key members of the ABT. In December, following the indictments, the ABT made threats against Texas law enforcement. Earlier this week, CNN spoke to a former skinhead who went so far as to say the killings aren't about ideologies but about money. Take a listen to this.
When the indictment happened, they didn't just... This isn't an ideology battle here. This was financial. They took away some of their drug mules. They took away people on the outside who were supplying them.
TJ, do you agree with that? More about money than ideology?
I completely agree with Frank Meeks, who made that statement. The truth is, it is about ideology. It's not about ideology. It's about money. They use the swastika. They use the trappings of white supremacy. As Mark talked about, the coding system, everything is used for financial gain. When you look back in December when they went after them in the racketeering case and got 34 indictments, that put a big hurt on them. And they don't like the loss of money. That's how they control, that's how they maintain. Every group underneath, and Mark can attest to this also, all skinhead, all Peckerwood subsets are basically their mules. They do their dirty work. So, you know, you could have, this may not be an actual ABT member that may have done these murders. It could have been one of their satellite groups that this guy's trying to get in with them just to earn his mark or earn his respect, to earn his bones, to become a member.
Yeah, Mark, do we think of this as a nationwide group or is it regional? How should we think about this group?
No, ABT is regional. I mean, it started in the Texas prisons. It has spread to some extent into prisons in neighboring states, but it's really about Texas. There's a common misconception that Aryan Brotherhood of Texas is a subset of Aryan Brotherhood, which is a great big national gang that started many years earlier in 1964 in San Quentin. So no, it's a regional gang, much like the gang that is being blamed in Colorado for the murder of the commissioner there, Tom Clements.
And their number one business is meth at the moment?
Yes, I think that's true. They also distribute heroin, cocaine and marijuana to a smaller extent, but I think methamphetamine is the number one thing that they're doing.
TJ, can you give us a scope of their business? You said that they have direct links to the Mexican drug cartels. How's that?
Well, I mean, inside the prison system, the main drug line comes from the Hispanic gangs. And all white supremacy gangs since the 1960s have had a very close allegiance with Hispanic gangs. That's how the whites get their drugs. They get it from the Hispanic gang members. And that's how they're able to distribute it out. So they do have connections with, especially along the border states, Arizona, California, Texas, New Mexico. They have those connections with the drug cartels. Between the heroin trade, the methamphetamine trade, which is huge for them, and the extortion. You come to jail, and, you know, I mean, John Gotti paid $60,000 to the Aryan Brotherhood to secure his existence while he was in prison. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Mark, according to the Anti-Defamation League, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas has killed more Americans than any other domestic extremist group, with over 100 murders, 10 kidnappings. What is their ultimate goal, if there is one?
Well, their ultimate goal is to run a very lucrative criminal empire, and they have been rather successful at that. Most of those murders, or actually more than 100 murders that they've committed, are aimed at their own people or at members of other gangs. These are generally not simply innocent members of the public who are robbed or whatever it may be. These are people in the underworld.
All right, Mark Potok with the Southern Poverty Law Center, and TJ Leiden, author of Skinhead Confessions. Good to see you again, TJ. Thank you both very much for being here.